With Luke Radel and meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good to be with you. I'm Luke Radel.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2 meteorologist Eric Gage.
It is freezing cold outside.
Yes.
I am still shaking a little bit after coming in the studio this morning. Minus 25 wind chill out of Griffiths.
Yeah, and I was joking with Gary yesterday. I'm like, I sometimes wear multiple jackets in the morning, depending how cold it is. I had my 2 layers on. I debated a 3rd layer, but yeah, either way, you're going to want to bundle up this morning.
Yeah, a lot of socks to keep those feet
Yes.
warm.
Look at those temperatures outside again. Yes, as Luke mentioned, we're at 25 below in the Utica Rome area, near minus 30 in Watertown. It is minus 30 at Saranac Lake, and we have temperatures in the negative 20-degree range, or at least wind chills down in Hamilton. A bit warmer as you head out west, but either way, we are in the cold pocket of the coldest sector of air here in New York State right now. Winds, as you can see here, are a slight factor, but I think the main thing is that the temperatures themselves are in the negative double digits right now, minus 13 officially in Rome, which is, again, why that cold air is still feeling even a lot colder despite the calmer winds. Yorkville Battery Live radar. Lake effect has wound down after a very narrow band moved through last night. In fact, it's actually cold enough. We have some Finger Lake effect impacting the southern tier near Greene, Oxford, Norwich, and down in the Binghamton area in Broome County. So because of that lake effect band that rolled through last night, you can see a lot of roads in the Utica area and north are pretty quiet. You head farther south near Sangerfield, you got some snow-covered roadways. The main ones will be plowed, but if you have any side roads, just budget some extra time getting ready to go. And again, this morning, grab those extra layers. Temperatures on paper in the negative double digits. We're only climbing into the single digits today. Wind chills remaining below zero. We have a look at any impactful lake effect snow over the next few days, plus that all-important weekend forecast straight ahead.
Eric,
Luke?
thanks so much. And don't forget the Storm Tracker 2 forecast, never more than 10 minutes away.
This live look of downtown Cooperstown is brought to you by the Leatherstocking Credit Union.
Welcome back. Time now is 5:12, going on 5:13, and here's a look at what you can expect in your forecast in a minute this morning. As you begin your day today, again, regardless of where you are, it is still bitterly cold. We're talking current conditions right now at minus 13, the wind chill Arctic, obviously with a minus 25 feels like temperature. Still very cold across the area, and yes, Arctic wind chills expected this morning. We have a very narrow band of lake effect we're tracking this afternoon, which I'll show here both briefly in about a couple of seconds here, as well as in a lot more detail here shortly. And we are looking at a very cold but quiet weekend ahead. So good news along that front there. Roadways, as I mentioned, heading north, pretty okay. Heading south with that snow, fresh snow moved through last night. There could be some snow-covered roadways, especially in some of those side roads there. And as I mentioned, as we head throughout the afternoon, we're going to see that band of snow trying its best to form, mainly south of Utica. Of course, I'll dive into this in a lot more detail coming up in a couple of minutes. Luke?
Eric, thanks so much. 2026 marks
2 team, where we track storms. The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning. Happy Friday, everybody. And, well, what a quiet or what a cold start to your day today. Wind chills in the negatives right now, extreme negatives, I should say, with the current wind chill of minus 25 degrees outside right now. So make sure you grab those extra layers and stay warm out there early today with those, again, Arctic wind chills pretty much sticking around for the entire day today. The radar showing quieter conditions here locally. There is lake effect, or I should say Finger Lake effect, taking place in the southern tier. However, that wind direction is going to shift a little bit more westerly this afternoon. There could be some potential for a very narrow band of snow here in just south of the Mohawk Valley, which I'll show here momentarily. But first I want to talk temperatures because, yes, today's wind chills in the morning hours, bitterly cold, very cold. And this afternoon, our wind chills don't really get above zero. It's going to be an incredibly cold day today regardless. Tonight through tomorrow morning, you can see here still wind chills at 6 a.m. Saturday in the negatives. Maybe we hit 0 for that wind chill Saturday afternoon, but then we're back into the negatives again Sunday morning, and then still remaining bitterly cold throughout the day Sunday. So I think for the majority of the next 3 days, we are going to see feels like temperatures remaining below 0 for the entirety of this Arctic blast. Now, you might think, well, here, of course, locally, we have seen temperatures and wind chills this cold. This is, of course, not very common, but it's not outlandish. But you notice here that Arctic front dipping south, impacting states as far south as Florida. And as you can see here, we have extreme cold warnings. We have cold weather advisories. As you head farther south, there is something interesting that just went on. Florida's first ever extreme cold watch has been issued due to the extreme cold temperatures down there. So, but keep in mind, the wind chills down there to warrant an extreme cold watch, wind chills around or a little bit above 0. So a little bit different in terms of criteria compared to up here in New York State. But nonetheless, still very cold weather expected all the way down the East Coast. As I mentioned, very narrow opportunity for some lake effect south and west of Utica. As I mentioned yesterday, so far models are hinting at it, and I just want to make sure you guys aren't caught off guard with that potential there. Following that, Saturday in the early morning hours, it looks pretty quiet, dodging a few clouds. Overall, the entire weekend is going to be cold, but pretty dry. Should have no impacts travel-wise, aside from just making sure you bundle up, because those wind chills will be in the negatives for the next few days. And of course, just in time after this Arctic blast, we have Groundhog Day on Monday, and we finally get to see if Phil sees a shadow or not, and whether we're going to get more of this or more of maybe an early taste of spring.
It feels like we're going to get at least 6 more weeks of winter beyond this point. At a certain point, like Phil, I feel bad. He wouldn't want to come out into these temperatures. I don't know.
He might just stay inside and stay warm.
Yeah, I think so. Eric, thank you very much. Well, if you're a night owl, so let's start our half hour here with a check of your latest Storm Tracker 2 forecast. Eric, the headline, it's cold.
Yeah, very easy to say. Yeah,
very cold.
Very cold this morning. Let's look at those temperatures to start your day today. We begin, at least with the wind chills, in the negative 20s right now, officially minus 25 in Rome. So it tells you just how cold it is right now. Officially, there are some reports of snow showers in Hamilton, Ithaca, Syracuse, but a lot more in terms of clear skies the farther east you go. So that's the case early this morning. Winds actually not even that strong. So the wind chill factor, which is a combination of winds and temperature. Temperature is actually the bigger role here. It's a minus 13 in Rome itself. Now the radar right now is mainly quiet. There's some lake effect or Finger Lake effect taking place across parts of the southern tier. And that seems to be the case for much of the morning before that snow band shifts its way north. But either way, we look at roadways this morning. I do want to mention that despite as you head farther north and east, roads are much improved, but you head farther south and west of Utica, in the hills of, say, Madison County and areas south where that snow rolled through last night. There could be some snow-covered conditions. Might have to budget some extra time to brush you off your car this morning. But regardless, all of us are experiencing the frigid or Arctic temperatures. Highs today peak in the single digits. Wind chills remain below 0. We have a look at how, if this lasts until the weekend, and what impacts we could have, maybe with snow or even some cold, coming up in a few minutes. Luke?
Eric, thank you. And you can see those closures all along the bottom of your screen, the full list of closures.
Where we track storms.
Welcome back. Thank you for joining us here on Sunrise on this Friday morning. I hope you're staying warm out there early today. And speaking of cold weather, something that we usually only see, in fact, I think it's pretty much uncommon to see anything like this when it's warm out. Something that a lot of you might have seen yesterday, light pillars. This was an amazing shot sent in to us by Kay from Ava, where you can see here potentially one of the nicest shots you can see here in the cold weather. Basically, when you have snow, which is at the right consistency, it's cold enough, it's dry enough in the air. These are hexagonal, very small snowflakes, and they fall horizontally, and they all fall in the same direction, which kind of allows a mirror-like situation to take place, allowing said light pillars to form here. So a lot of you might have seen that yesterday morning. And if you're wondering what they were, well, that's what it is. And it's a really interesting phenomenon in meteorology. A huge shout out to Kay and those of you tuning in from Ava for this amazing photo right here. If you have one you'd like to send to us, WKTV.com/weather/pics is a place to go. Your photo of the day every morning brought to you by GPO Federal Credit Union. When it comes to our weather headlines today, as you can see here, Arctic temperatures still continue today. Cold lingers through the weekend, and we have some information on potentially some snow chances today. Will that be the only snow chance? We'll dive into that here coming up in that full forecast in a few minutes. Luke?
Eric, thanks so much. Well, it's an injury that
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. We begin your day today on the downright Arctic side. We look at the current conditions in downtown Utica. The good news is right now, the roadways in the Mohawk Valley in the nearby areas are pretty quiet. However, as you head farther south, a different story. I'll show that here on our radar here in just a second. It's 13 out right now, wind chill of 25 degrees below zero. Incredibly cold out there early today. And while I was mentioning that we do have some lake effect taking place, mainly off of the Finger Lakes here, as I mentioned before, when we get so cold, we get what's called invisible snow. Basically, it's snowing out. It's just the radars can't see it because it's so close to the ground, and radar scans go higher up in the sky the farther away they go from the radar beams themselves. Basically, what that means is it's snowing in parts of the southern valleys right now, very narrow bands of that lake effect. But again, we really only see it as it gets closer and closer to the radar scans in the Binghamton area where that Binghamton radar is. But for the rest of the Mohawk Valley, the lake effect pretty much non-existent. What is existent, though, are these Arctic wind chills, which remain below zero for pretty much the entire weekend. I'm just doing some snapshots here. This is 6 a.m. Saturday. We're at 5 below zero in Utica. Heading into Sunday morning at 6 a.m., we're at -19 in Utica, -20 in Little Falls, -21 Old Forge, -9 in Oneonta, and as you can see here, we remain below zero for pretty much the entire weekend with that wind chill. This is a massive Arctic front that's not only impacting our area, but slamming the southeast with some very frigid wind chills, some heavy snow in the Carolinas, that nor'easter heading out to the Atlantic. We were mentioning that, staying outside of our area as early as the early part of this week, and it's so far it is panning out that way. But with that cold air shifting south, it is doing something that some parts of the East Coast or East Southeast haven't seen, extreme cold watches for the Florida area. That is something that hasn't been issued before, so here we are with some extreme cold, even some potential Gulf effect snow in the Tampa area as we head into the weekend. So I mentioned, is there any snow possibilities in the Mohawk Valley today? Well, I would actually say mainly just south of it. You can see that band trying to form again right here through Syracuse in the hills of Madison County before eventually shifts south, fizzles out, and then that snow will end for pretty much the entire weekend. Because we get that Arctic blast, that nor'easter stays out to the Atlantic, and we get some bitter cold temperatures, but also pretty dry. Sunshine chances on and off both days. Again, as I mentioned, wind chills below zero, so a bitter cold weekend. But if you bundle up, you can drive anywhere. You have no travel impact, so yeah. I guess not too bad.
Bitter cold indeed. Eric Gage, thank you so much. Still ahead, we have one last look at your forecast.
With Luke Radel and meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good to be with you. I'm Luke Radel in for Gary.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2 meteorologist Eric Gage.
Eric, we get the privilege of delivering, I think, some decently good news to all the students, or many of the students across our area.
Yes.
2-hour delays this morning because of those extreme cold, those wind chills that we're seeing across the region. A lot of schools having 2-hour delays.
Yeah, so just go back to bed, get some extra shut-eye here.
Leave the TV on. Keep watching the show for the ratings, but yeah, definitely you can head back to bed.
But yeah, and enjoy the 2-hour delay today, but it's still going to be very cold for pretty much the entire afternoon. We look at the conditions outside right now, and yes, it is still very cold early today. We're at minus 26, nearly minus 30 in a lot of spots north and east of Utica. You notice to the south and west, the wind chills aren't that bad. And if you're wondering why, well, it's not so much the winds, the fact that there has been some lake effect taking place in western New York, the Finger Lakes area, and sections of the southern valleys. So, say for example, Hamilton, it's at minus 6. You head up north, it's a lot colder with those clear skies. The temperature on paper was at minus 13 in Rome a few moments ago, so nonetheless still a very cold start to your day. Winds gusting a little bit, but either way, the temperature itself bitterly cold. Radar right now is pretty quiet. There is some Finger Lake effect taking place right now, and in fact some of that's actually not influenced by that, but a very narrow band, in fact low to the surface band of snowfall hitting parts of, say, Madison County, Otsego County. So some of you in the southern valleys might be experiencing some snowfall early today. Enough to still coat some roads, especially down toward Route 12 and 20 in Sangerfield. So if you're heading south and west of Utica, you might encounter some snow-covered roads. But besides that, the farther north and east you head, the roads pretty clear, but still bitterly cold. Temperatures on paper will climb into the single digits today for highs, but those wind chills remain below zero for the entire day today. Will that be the case for the weekend ahead? We'll have the details in a few minutes. Luke?
Eric, thanks so much. A great day to download that Storm Tracker 2 weather app. And remember, your weather with Eric Gage, never more than 10 minutes away. So here's a look now, as we mentioned, at the list of school districts on a 2-hour delay today because of those below zero temperatures. The districts are often resistant to open on time in such extreme cold because many students walk to school. Your full list of closings and delays is available now on our app or on our website, WKTV.com. Well, new this morning, amidst frigid temperatures.
Welcome back to Sunrise. Time now is 6:12, going on 6:13, and here's a look at what you can expect heading out the door today in your forecast in a minute. First off, currently in Utica, roadways not too bad out there right now. Different story heading south and west. We'll get to that here shortly, but still, that feels like temperature minus 26 out. It is downright Arctic out there early this morning, and so far continue to be pretty cold throughout the next few days. We are tracking a very narrow band of lake effect that will be moving in this afternoon, plus some snowfall still taking place in some sections south. Either way, we've got some narrow lake effect bands we're tracking over the next several hours. This weekend, it's trending still very cold, but it is looking pretty dry. We'll have a look at those wind chills, the conditions, and of course everything in between when it comes to your weekend forecast here shortly. Roadways, as I mentioned, a lot clearer north and west, or north and east I should say. Heading south and west, you're going to be encountering some very narrow lake effect bands right here, as you can see it taking place mainly off the Finger Lakes. And as we head throughout the day today, we're going to see a snow band begin to move its way northward back just south of the Utica area right here. We'll, of course, dive into that here in a lot more detail in a few minutes. Luke?
Eric, thanks so much. We'll grab that torch because the Olympics open.
New team where we track storms. The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everybody. Time now is 6:19 on this Friday morning. Happy Friday. A lot of you might have some extra time to get ready this morning or sleep in. Either way, if you're watching us right now, well, either way, it's a very cold start to your day. Currently, right now, a view in downtown Utica. Roadways, not too bad. The main reasoning for a lot of these delays this morning in a lot of area school districts are the temperatures. I mean, this is still a bitter cold by any stretch. Minus 26 wind chill right now. I personally had to wear extra layers today. I had 2 coats on, which of course I had a nice puffy jacket, so it kept me pretty warm. But either way, we're down to negative 12 officially on paper at Griffiths and Rome. Live look at the radar. it's pretty quiet in the Mohawk Valley. We got some lake effect taking place in the southern valleys right now, so a heads up regarding that. But a lot of us experiencing some bitter cold wind chills. As you can see here, we're in the negatives right now, minus 22 degrees in Utica. As we head throughout the afternoon, negative single digits, but still remaining below zero for pretty much the entire weekend. Not really warming up all too much by any means at all. But the weekend will favor some drier weather, which could be some good news for a lot of you who might have some weekend plans. Obviously, you might want to dress a bit warmly for that. This is an Arctic front not only impacting our area, but a lot of the Northeast, a lot of the East Coast, and including the Southeast here, bringing potential Gulf effect snow. Yes, there can be Gulf effect down south off the shores heading toward the Tampa area on the west coast of Florida. So that tells you just how cold this is going to be. Cold advisories, including extreme cold watches in effect for a lot of the Southeast, including, for the first time ever, sections of Florida going as far south as Orlando, including just north of Miami. It appears maybe only Key West and sections of the Everglades are free from those cold advisories. Nonetheless, here locally, to us, the wind chill factor still bitterly cold, but nothing we haven't really seen before. Down there, extreme cold warnings or watches are issued when we have near zero wind chills. So here for us, our criteria a bit more forgiving, but nonetheless, as you can see here, potentially for a very narrow band of snowfall south and west Utica this evening. Just to keep an eye out for that regarding any travel impacts. Besides that, it's pretty quiet, but pretty cold for this weekend. Our temperatures are in the teens. As I mentioned, wind chills will be below zero for all of Saturday, all of Sunday, with partly cloudy to mostly cloudy skies, but pretty much no snowfall in the forecast for that. Then, of course, following that, just in time for a slight warm-up into the 20s. We have Groundhog Day, and Puxatawney Phil might
throw him off a little bit with that warm-up right before.
I know, right?
I still think we're getting 6 more weeks of winter, and I'm looking at your two coats right now, your big puffy coat. I brought in my big puffy coat. I needed to be well bundled up before coming in this morning because it was like 3:30 in the morning, and it was much lower temperatures than it is now up here on Smith Hill.
Yes, I got off screen. You can see I have my 2 layers just right behind there too. So.
You're ready to go, Eric Gage. Thanks so much. Well, folks, be sure to follow us this morning. I'm Luke Radel, in for Gary. We have a lot of those 2-hour delays to report to you this morning. Hopefully an opportunity for you folks to get back to bed. But before you do, let's check in with our Storm Tracker 2 meteorologist, Eric Gage, for a check of those really shockingly cold wind chills.
Yeah, and this is one of those conditions where it doesn't really matter minus 20, minus 30. It is just
It all feels the same.
It all feels the same at this point, yeah. And you look here at the wind chills today. We're at minus 26 officially in Rome, near minus 30, heading out towards Johnstown, Saranac Lake, and up in Watertown as well. Notice here, as you head farther south and west, it's actually not that cold. Now, we're at minus 17 Hamilton. It is still pretty cold out, but the cloud layers and the lake effect still lingering in sections of that area, preventing the radiational cooling from producing those even colder conditions. Winds this morning, again, not that bad. The wind chill factor, which is a combination of temperature and wind speed, the winds are not as much of a factor as is the actual temperature, which, as you can see in the bottom of your screen throughout the newscast here, around minus 12, minus 13 degrees. Yorkville Battery Live Radar, we have some lake effect or Finger Lake effect snow taking place right now, but that's only what's getting picked up on the radar scans. Underneath the radar scans, heading up towards central Otsego County and Madison County, we have some lingering snow showers up there as well.
Until 11 o'clock.
So roadways today, as you head farther north and east, roads are generally clear. You head farther south and west in the southern valleys or in the hills of Madison County along Route 20. That's some snow-covered roads, could produce some travel impacts. Either way today, temperatures on paper in the single digits for highs, wind chills remaining below zero. We have a look at how that weekend forecast is shaping up, any impacts, the temperatures, everything you need to know coming up in a few minutes. Luke?
Eric, thanks so much. And don't forget, your Storm Tracker 2 forecast is never more than 10 minutes away. Well, no vote overnight.
2 is brought to you by Holland Farms Bakery and Deli. This live look of downtown Cooperstown is brought to you by the Leatherstocking Credit Union.
Welcome back. Thank you for joining us here on Sunrise on this Friday morning. No doubt about it, it's very cold today. And speaking of cold weather, something that we get only when it's very cold out and we get a certain type of snowflake falling from the sky, again, due to that extreme cold, creates what are called light pillars. And this is an amazing shot right here. And some of you might have seen it yesterday morning in your early morning drive into work. Of these said light pillars sent in by Kay from Ava, where you can see the bright pillars driven in by the unique characteristics of hexagonal, very thin flakes. This is what causes them and also what can cause sun pillars too in those early morning sunrises. But either way, an amazing photo right here. If you have one you'd like to share with us, WKTV.com/weather/pics. Photo of the day brought to you every morning by GPO Federal Credit Union. Luke?
Eric, thanks so much. Mandy Gaither reports now on the new research.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, time now, 6:51 on this Friday morning. Happy Friday, everybody. A lot of us having some school delays early today due to this bitter cold weather. In fact, we look outside in downtown Utica. I mean, this is one of those scenarios where, yes, the delays obviously not influenced by the road conditions themselves, but I mean, just look at these wind chills this morning. Temperature officially -12 at Rome. -26 feels like temperature outside right now, and personally when I headed out this morning I had some extra layers on. Even then my face, I feel like, froze as I walked about 10 feet from my front door to my car. So either way, it's still very cold this morning. We have some lake effect tracking, at least tracking south in the Finger Lakes area and sections of the Southern Valley, so watch out for some snow bands heading in that direction. Wind chills remain Arctic this morning, and I will say this, it doesn't really warm up a whole lot this weekend. Yes, we get out of the negative double digits this afternoon as well as in the overnight and early tomorrow, but aside from maybe hitting the 0-degree mark, our wind chills remain below 0 for the entire weekend. So that's something to plan for. If you have any plans to go anywhere this weekend, definitely factor in that the wind chills will be bitterly cold. Grab any extra layers you can if you're spending any time outdoors. Of course, it is winter time. Some of you might have some plans for maybe skiing or snowmobiling or whatnot. And yes, there's plenty of snow to share, but the cold definitely a factor. So here locally, yes, we have some impacts for wind chills, but more importantly, this cold front, or Arctic front, I should say, is slamming the East Coast, the Southeast. You can see that monster of a nor'easter forming right there. This obviously is missing our area, but it is slamming sections of the Southeast, mainly out toward South or North Carolina. And on top of that, the jet stream is far south enough, it's producing Gulf effect snow, with the possibility of that in the west coast of Florida, along with some bitter cold temperatures. A rare extreme cold watch issued for Florida. First time ever it's been issued since they introduced extreme cold watches. But nonetheless, here locally, we've got some pretty cold but quiet conditions. The only travel impacts I'm looking at for the short term appears to be this evening, as a very narrow band of lake effect makes its return again through Syracuse and just south and west of Utica. Following this evening and tonight, it'll fizzle out, and this weekend will be favoring a mix of sunshine and clouds and very cold weather. Your 7-day forecast following this bitter cold weekend. Punxsutawney Phil will be making his appearance, hopefully, or hopefully not, depending on what side you're on, if he sees a shadow or not. Either way, it does warm up a little bit by the middle of next week. We'll be right back.
News with Luke Radel and meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good to be with you. I'm Luke Radel, in for Gary. Students across our area got a little extra sleep this morning, Eric,
Yep.
as a result of some widespread 2-hour delays, and with well below 0 wind chill temps continuing throughout the day. we got to take a look at what's happening across our area.
Yeah, and you said it here. We got the cold weather still sticking around. That's the main factor with impacts today. We look at the conditions outside. We're at 14 below with that wind chill in Rome, minus 20 up in Saranac Lake. Now, we're looking to get the confirmations here, but it appears that there could have been a minus 48-degree wind chill in Watertown earlier this morning with the stronger winds and, of course, the bitter cold temperatures. I'm looking into that right now. But either way, it has been very cold across the region. On top of that, some of you, especially south of the Mohawk Valley, have been dealing with some on and off snowfall along with some stronger wind gusts, which is turning a bit more widespread as the day is progressing. Of course, once the sun starts shining, the winds pick up. You see on the radar, not a lot of activity, but I want to again remind you guys, the radar is a tool, but it might not paint the full picture here. Here's what I mean. Because it's so cold out, a lot of this lake effect is so close to the ground because the air is so dense that a lot of this lake effect is falling below the radar scans. These are very incredibly narrow snow bands passing through the southern valleys, causing some slick spots. Again, you can see it kind of right here. It's not a very large zone, but it's enough to where you can kind of see that snow starting to fall in that region. So again, as we started out this morning, we were below zero. Today's highs are in the mid single digits to maybe pushing 9-10 degrees, but it certainly won't feel like that out there. Wind chills still remaining below zero for the next, I would say, 12 hours and potentially throughout the entire weekend. We'll be diving into that coming up in your weekend forecast in a few minutes. Luke?
Eric, thanks so much. It's so cold. The snow is literally going under the radar.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good afternoon, everybody. Today on this Friday, downright bitter cold. Overnight lows bottoming out at Rome at 15 below zero. Wind chills officially bottoming out at minus 25. Now, while temperature has been the main story across central New York, for those of you that live south of the Thruway, heading into the hills of Madison County and parts of southern Netta County, you might have experienced some of that snowfall, especially in Otsego and Chenango County, too. Some very narrow bands of snow continuing, which could impact travel, especially during the evening hours. I'll dive into that here shortly. But first, I want to talk temperatures because they're going to remain very cold. Wind chills will likely stay below zero for the next 48 hours or so throughout the end of the weekend. You can see here, this is a time lapse heading into Saturday evening into Sunday. This is Sunday morning, wind chills 17 below in the Mohawk Valley, and then still remaining bitterly cold as we head throughout the day Sunday. But there is some good news when it comes to the weekend forecasts I'll show here shortly. So the bigger picture, obviously, well, it's cold weather here. There's an Arctic front moving its way through. For us, it means cold and quiet weather. For the southeast, it means a winter storm hitting the Atlantic coast near the Carolinas, of course, producing some potential extremely impactful snow there. And then it also means, for example, when it comes to cold weather alerts, here locally, yes, we have warnings, we have advisories, but this extends all the way south. Look at this. Even if you head north of Miami, and including Tampa, which is now in an extreme cold warning right now, due to that cold moving in, they're going to see some Gulf effect, potential snowfall there too. It tells you just how cold and how wide this Arctic front is moving in. As you can see here, a lot of cold advisories and cold alerts for the Florida peninsula there. So today, locally, you can see here we are tracking an organized band of snow moving in south and west Utica. This is our best shot for impactful snow over the next several days, matter of fact. Saturday and Sunday, looking to be a mix of sun and clouds. It's cold, but it's dry. So if you have any plans, travel will not be an issue. Just make sure you bundle up and stay warm. In terms of snowfall, the general range of snow tonight through Saturday morning, you can see here mainly in this zone here. Now the totals will fluctuate here and there, but I just wanted to show you guys where that placement of most impactful snow will be heading into this evening through tonight. So again, this weekend, it's a mix of sun and clouds. It's still bitterly cold. And then we have some warming conditions. I guess you can call it relatively. We're in the 20s, but no above freezing temperatures still in the next 7 or so days. We really are in that brunt of midwinter right now.
The dead of winter. It's not a good day to go to Disney World, I feel like, right now, unless you like not having to wait in long lines.
Well, I mean, if you compare, maybe minus 15 to maybe, I don't know, wind chill 1 in Florida.
Sure.
If you compare it, I don't know.
I just don't know going on a roller coaster like Splash Mountain and that.
It's
Anyways,
frozen.
Eric, thank you very much. Well, this winter locally has been brutal so far with above average snowfall to date. And while we've all been feeling winter's wrath, local municipalities have been working around the clock. Here's Storm Tracker 2 meteorologist James DeFazio.
The city of Utica averages 95.5 inches of snow for the entire winter season. Coming into the day, we've gotten 95.3 inches of snow already, and it's still only January. With snow totals almost double where they were at this time last year, I spoke with James Shane, the president of the Oneida County Highway Association.
For the last, I've been superintendent for 5 years. The first 4 years, I could say, it was a pretty soft winter. The guys might go out once a week, twice a week. And that was just going out like one shift, going out, cleaning up in the morning, the afternoon would be nice, and the night shift, they really wouldn't have much going on. Last year was grueling, but it started about January 1st last year. This year, for us, our year started November 1st.
Another factor adding challenges, the frigid temperatures and frequency of snowfalls. Highway departments have had to adjust the material that they spread as conditions change. While salt was effective in the early season, the harsh winter has forced departments to increase sand usage for traction.
I'm not using as much salt. I had to kind of go back to sand for traction on the road. But when we get the back-to-back storms with no sun, our roads, because we don't use a lot of salt like the state or the county, our roads never really completely bear off. So we have to put some sand on them to have traction. It's a double-edged sword. They don't melt off, but then the general public gets used to driving on it. And that's the big thing now. You don't see as many accidents because people are used to driving in it now.
With 50 days remaining until spring, these numbers are only going to increase. We're on pace to finish the season with the highest seasonal snow total in quite some time. To crack the top 10 snowiest winters ever, Utica would need 37.4 inches of additional accumulation. Reporting in studio, James DeFazio, News Channel 2.
James, thanks so much. Coming up,
We got a bit of a cold start today. In fact, it was so cold. Well, how about this? Here's a temperature comparison from Rome, right here, at 6 a.m. this morning, and Utqiagvik in Alaska, formerly known as Barrow, the northernmost town in all of the U.S. Let's take this full screen here. You can see we actually were about, I would say, around 8 degrees colder than the northernmost town in the U.S. So if you ever wanted to flaunt how cold it was this morning, well, that's definitely one way to do it. And so far right now, those wind chills still hovering in the negatives. We are not really warming up anytime soon here across the Mohawk Valley. But in the meantime, this weekend, a major event going on in Boonville. Obviously, the Snow Festival taking place tonight. There are some lingering lake effect snow showers, but I don't think they'll affect Boonville itself. In fact, this weekend, aside from the cold, there are no travel impacts expected. So as long as you bundle up, grab those extra layers, you should have no issues enjoying all the festivities at, of course, the Boonville Snow Festival, which again takes place right now and will continue, at least for the registration part right now, and then continue through Saturday and Sunday. The radar at this hour showing some lake effect snow trying its best to form into a very narrow band right here in sections of the Mohawk Valley. This is going to shift its way through the areas just south right here throughout the afternoon and into the evening hours. I'll, of course, dive into this forecast in a lot more detail in a few short minutes. Luke?
Eric, thanks so much. The Kirkland man accused of abusing
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good afternoon, everybody. Today, the main thing has been the cold, obviously. It's been Arctic across the area. And we look at the roadways. And the thing here is I wanted to mention that we're still tracking some lake effect, especially south and west of Utica. Those who live in Utica and north, I mean, we got some sunshine peeking out. It's been relatively quiet, but a much different story regarding road conditions, especially the farther south. There are multiple accidents in Syracuse. Now, the roads look a lot better compared to, say, a few hours ago, but still, this lake effect is expected to set up right here south and west of Utica, and that could cause some tricky travel in that zone this evening, which we'll get to shortly. First, though, what will be affecting everyone over the next 24, 36, maybe in 48 hours here, going to be the cold, the Arctic temperatures. Now, yes, the coldest night will be tonight, or I should say this past night. Tonight, not as cold, but nonetheless, it is still going to be below zero wind chill wise for pretty much the entire weekend, with Saturday night being even colder, overnight lows in the negative double digits again in the wind chill factor, and then, of course, we're back into the negatives again by Sunday night into Monday. So if you have any weekend plans, well, it looks pretty quiet weather-wise. It's just you're going to want to make sure you have some of those extra layers on. So this not only is affecting central New York, it is impacting a lot of the East Coast. There is a major impact snowstorm that we were talking about missing this earlier this week, but is going to hit the Atlantic coast right here, meaning the Carolinas, dumping 4 to 8 inches, which 4 to 8 inches of snow in North Carolina is like us seeing 2 or more feet of snow. So it is quite an impactful storm down there. On top of that, there's some Gulf effect snow possible in Florida. There are cold, extreme cold warnings in effect as far south as Florida. So here's what I mean by saying this is a large impact event, likely making some national headlines throughout the day today, and especially as we head throughout the weekend. But here locally, I wouldn't say any national headlines. All it is just bitter cold across the region, something we're used to here in central New York. You can see that snow band starting to form again. This is the travel impact I've been mentioning. Just watch out if you're heading in that vicinity south and west of Utica this evening for that snow. That fizzles out, and the rest of the weekend looking pretty dry with a mix of sunshine and clouds. Regarding snowfall accumulation, now generally I'm thinking maybe 1 to 3 inches, with some spots hitting 4 in some spots in the zone here. I just wanted to show this map to give you an idea of exactly where we're thinking that snow is likely to accumulate. So again, in the hills south of Utica. Your 7-day forecast. We've got that cold and dry weather for the weekend, and then just in time for the end of the week, or the weekend and the start of the work week, it is, of course, Groundhog Day on Monday, and everyone's anticipation onto what Phil has to say about the winter time. And I think a lot of us have definitely already experienced more than enough of winter time, and a lot of folks are already wanting springtime again. But I have a feeling I know the answer. He's going to be seeing, maybe seeing his shadow.
I wouldn't blame him for not even coming out of his little hole there. I don't want to leave the studio in a couple of minutes. It's going to be frightening out there, but thank you, Eric. Well, President Trump announced this
News with Kristen Copeland and Jason Palace.
Someone please tell Elsa to let it go. Another cold weekend on tap. That started with several schools delaying opening today.
Yeah, 9 degrees atop Smith Hill and dropping. Chief Meteorologist Bill Cardis is tracking from the Weather Center.
Yeah, this cold weather is going to stick around for most of the weekend. It won't be quite as cold as today, but it's really not that much different. Instead of being in the single digits, we only get into the teens both Saturday and Sunday. And that wind is going nowhere, which means we have the wind chill. So we're going to be in the thick of it here again this weekend. We have cold weather advisories that continue. Again, tonight's low temperatures will be similar to last night's. I think the winds just won't be as strong, so there'll be less of a wind chill, but it's still cold. Snow showers, a temperature of 9 degrees at Griffis and Rome. It feels like 2 below zero. These bands extend farther east, bringing some light snow to central New York. We will see some bands of localized lake effect snow throughout the course of this evening, but the winds are expected to turn into a more northerly direction, so these bands drop southward throughout the course of this evening. And again, looking at cold temperatures this weekend, only in the teens both Saturday and Sunday. But the weather is dry. We're not dealing with any snow like we saw last weekend. Temperatures this evening in the single digits against snow showers. We've got a look at when the weather finally starts to warm up. Look at the forecast coming up. Jason, back to you.
Bill, thank you. Continuing coverage on what is believed to be a carbon monoxide poisoning in a New Hartford.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis.
Good evening. Happy Friday. We've got a cold weekend ahead, but the weather is looking fairly quiet. We do have a little bit of lake effect snow this evening. In some cases, it does come down steady. Let's take a live look in downtown Utica. We're kind of on the fringe of this band in the city. You go a little bit south and the snow is falling at a steady clip. It's not heavy, at least it's not as heavy as it was a couple of weeks ago, but we will get some light accumulation here. One of the issues, at least on our end, is trying to detect this because the radar is just not seeing this band. It's very low to the ground, and the radar beam is overshooting a lot of these low-level clouds. So again, what you're seeing on the radar doesn't explain the entire extent of this. This is falling across a good portion of Oneida County. And again, you can kind of just draw your eyes across the screen here just to get an idea of where this would be. The problem with this, in addition to not being able to see these on these maps, is that this takes a lot of these modern day weather apps take these radar images verbatim and it gets plugged into the data. And a lot of times it'll be snowing and the app just doesn't see that. And so it says it's dry and it's not. It's going to be one of those nights across central New York. Thankfully, the snow is fairly light. Where it is snowing, it is not expected to cause any significant accumulation. It's in generally between 1 to 2 fluffy inches at most here. It looks like the steadiest snow is going to be well to the west. A cold weekend ahead. We're looking at high temperatures in the teens, but of course they've got the wind chill to deal with. Tonight the wind chill bottoms out between about 15 to 20 below zero, which is not as cold as last night, but it's still cold. It's going to feel like single digits below zero during the day tomorrow. And then it's even colder. The wind chill is even colder Sunday morning between 20 to 25 below zero. It's very cold throughout Sunday afternoon. Again, the wind is relatively light, but it's enough to make the wind chill stay below zero. The good news is that we head in a warmer direction going forward. Another thing that we're watching too is that there's a storm forming to our south, and there's going to be snow in the Carolinas this evening and tomorrow. This is going to head out to sea, and this will not be bringing central New York any significant snow, and hence a dry weekend is expected. That lingering lake effect continues over the next couple of hours. This drifts to the south and west, and we're looking at generally dry conditions tonight. A frigid night, overnight lows well below zero. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy, an occasional break of sunshine or two, temperatures in the teens, but it stays dry. Looking at partly cloudy skies tomorrow night, overnight lows 5 to 10 below zero. And then on Sunday, it's still pretty cold, high temperatures in the mid-teens. I think we'll see more sunshine Sunday compared to Saturday. And again, watching that coastal storm, again, looks to be a complete miss here for central New York. Tonight, snow showers, 15 below zero. Tomorrow, another cold day, mostly cloudy, high temperature 14. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. We climb into the 20s next week. 26 Monday, partly sunny skies. Another clipper arrives on Tuesday, bringing light snow, but not much of a push of cold weather, at least for the short term. Temperatures will be in the 20s Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So we do get a break, at least from this intense cold, but again, another weekend to hibernate.
All right, thank you, Bill.
He gave us permission.
Fun with it, the potential for the most snow in years for some areas.
Yeah, Brian Abel reports on the preparations.
In a weekend weather sequel, a powerful bomb cyclone endangering parts of the southeast and mid-Atlantic. The rapidly strengthening winter storm is set to deliver unusual amounts of snow, damaging winds, and dangerous coastal flooding.
All North Carolinians should be finalizing plans now and should be prepared to stay home and off the roadways starting tonight through early next week.
More than 28 million people are under winter storm watches and warnings, with many of the areas still recovering from the deadly winter storm just a week prior.
and it's starting to feel a bit like Groundhog Week here in North Carolina.
The most impactful snowfall is expected across central and eastern North Carolina, and central and northeast South Carolina into southern Virginia. Georgia also declaring a state of emergency, with some portions expecting 2 to 4 inches of snow. Potential hurricane force wind gusts approaching nearly 75 miles per hour are expected along parts of the North Carolina and Virginia shorelines by Saturday night, with blizzard conditions possible when mixed with heavy snow. Crews along the coast working now to prepare for the system, pre-treating roads and warning residents.
NCDOT crews have been working in shifts around the clock on de-icing operations to clear the roadways from what's left from the past weekend storm, and anti-icing operations to prepare for the roads for the coming weather.
In Washington, Brian Abel reporting.
Coming up, Snowfest is this weekend with a parade tonight. We're going to take you to Boonville.
Also tonight, newly released
Bill Cardis.
We've got a very cold weekend in store here in central New York, but it will be generally dry once we get through this evening. We are continuing to track lake effect snow showers working in from the west, and it is lightly snowing at Griffiths and Rome, a temperature of 9 degrees. It feels like 2 below zero. The wind chill has been below zero all day. We officially dropped to 15 below zero earlier this morning. It didn't break a record, but it was certainly a very cold night. Coldest one so far this season. Live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. Again, you're not seeing the bands, but they're there. They're underneath the radar this evening, so we are seeing some light snow across Oneida County. And again, it is going to be on the lighter side throughout the course of this evening. A cold weekend ahead, temperatures in the teens Saturday and Sunday. That's as warm as we get. Overnight lows will be below zero, but we do see temperatures back into the 20s Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And at least for the short term, once we get through the weekend, we will get a break from the really bitter cold. Good night to keep the dog inside. If you do have to go out, make it short. Temperatures will be in the single digits. Tonight's featured dog is Haley from Skylar. If you want to be part of this, head to Skycast WKTV on Facebook. This is brought to you by Nissan. Back over to you.
All right, Bill, thank you. Happening this weekend, it's been dubbed the snowmobile capital of the East. Yes, it's Boonville Snow Festival at the Boonville Oneida County Fairgrounds. There is a torchlight parade tonight at 6:30 and the Blessing of the Ice Oval Track at 7:15. Snowmobile racing is tonight, tomorrow, and Sunday.
If you've never raced one, you're going to be impressed. We go down the straightaway over 100 miles an hour and through the corner and barely shave off any speed in the corners. So real fast. I mean, any adrenaline junkie, love to see this.
Things to bring: heat packs and blankets, also earplugs. You can bring coolers, but you can't bring alcohol or cooking grills.
Do you want to do a home improvement project, but you don't?
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Cardis.
Good evening. It's going to be a cold weekend here in central New York. Not quite as biting cold as today, but it's not going to be all that warm either. Temperatures will be in the teens both Saturday and Sunday. Let's take a live look in Cooperstown. We're in the single digits this evening in most areas, and it feels like it's below zero with a light wind. We're also tracking lake effect snow. It's not showing up very well, if at all, on our Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar because the radar beam is not able to capture some of these really low-level bands. When it gets in the single digits and it snows, the bands are very, very shallow. They're only 5,000 feet or less towards the ground, and that ends up, because the radar is far enough away, it ends up overshooting where it's snowing and it's not detecting it. It's still there, it's just not detecting it, and that's going to be the case this evening. Just keep that in mind, because when you use a weather app or short-term forecast, they're incorporating radar data in this. And again, we're expecting light snow to continue, a fluffy inch or two of accumulation west of Utica this evening. The snow will drift south. The wind direction is expected to turn northerly, and that should allow the band to drift south here as we head into tonight. And it does move to the west tonight with winds turning northerly, and we are expecting a dry weekend both Saturday and Sunday. But it's cold. Both days will be in the teens. The wind chills will be below zero, and air temperatures will be below zero at night. This is one of the, for winter enthusiasts, this has been one of the best snow seasons that we've had. Even better than last year because it's been cold and snowy in December and even November compared to last year. Last year, things didn't get going until January. This is a look at season snowfall totals. We're not even in the month of February. We're already over 100 inches in a lot of spots. Marcy, 143 inches. Taberg, 151 inches. Point Rock, 171 inches. You go into the Tug Hill, Worth, New York, again, in the Tug Hill, in the heart of the Tug Hill, 255 inches of snow so far this season. And again, the cold weather's sticking around, so we'll likely be adding to this for sure, of course, as we head into the month of February. The wind chill stays very cold tonight. We bottom out between 15 to 20 below Saturday morning, so we have cold weather advisories in effect. While it's not as cold as it was last night, it's still pretty cold. Instead of being 25 below zero, it's 20 below zero. It stays very cold throughout Saturday. We'll see wind chills on Sunday close to 25 below zero again. So again, just a bitterly cold weekend. The good news is when we look ahead, there are signs that the weather turns much less cold, and it looks to stay away for the foreseeable future. Clinton 7 degrees, Cassville 7, Barneveld 5, below zero already. Old Forge and Inlet, Mohawk 7 degrees, and again, we're tracking lake effect snow showers. This storm to the south is going to be a big miss. This is going to end up moving to Nova Scotia, so that storm that's producing snow in the Carolinas is not expected to be an issue here in central New York. So we do get a break from that. Snow showers tonight down to 15 below zero. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy, temperatures in the teens. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. We stay dry until Tuesday. We have a clipper system working in, bringing us some light snow. We stay in the 20s during the day, overnight lows in the teens, with some light snow chances on Friday. We'll be right back.
With Kristen Copeland and Jason Pallas.
An Arctic air mass has its grip on the Mohawk Valley again this weekend.
Yeah, Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis is tracking the temperatures and what it can actually feel like outside right now. Bill.
Yeah, it's a very cold day. We were only in the single digits this afternoon. We started out at 15 below zero this morning. That was the air temperature at Griffiths and Rome. It got as low as 25 below with the wind chill. We're going to be cold again tonight. We have cold weather advisories in effect. And while it won't be quite as cold as last night, it's not going to be that much warmer. I think we're going to be close to about 10 to 15 below. Current temperature is 8 degrees, light snow being reported at Griffiths and Rome. It feels like 3 below. These bands of snow are extending much further than the radar is suggesting this evening. Again, it's because it's really low, it's very close to the ground, and the radar is not detecting all of it. Do expect to see some light snow showers and flurries this evening. That band will drop to the south and west tonight and tomorrow. So we're looking at dry weather this weekend, but it's cold. Temperatures look to be in the teens both Saturday and Sunday. Snow showers this evening, temperatures in the single digits. Again, tracking a quiet weekend, but when will it finally warm up? I've got to look at that coming up. Back over to you.
New Ed 6, the city of Utica is operation tonight and is asking that you not park on Genesee Street from Washington Street to Oriskany Street and Bleecker Street from Genesee Street to John Street. That starts at 11 tonight. No parking signs will be posted.
Focus Economy Utica Mayor Michael Galimi delivered his budget proposal.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis.
Cold weather is going to linger around through the whole weekend. We're also tracking some light snow this evening. Lake effect snow continues to bring a light accumulation across Oneida County. Let's take a live look in downtown Utica. It's hard to see on the screen, but it is lightly snowing. It's not enough to cause any big visibility issues, but it is enough to coat the roads, and it could make things a little bit slippery this evening. The bands are not being detected by the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar, and here's why. They're very low to the ground. The radar beams are overshooting them. You can stretch this line. You can see some of this happening out towards Syracuse. You can stretch this across Oneida County. So this is over Rome, Utica, and likely into Herkimer County. And again, it's very, very light. The wind direction changes, so I'm expecting these bands to drop south throughout the course of tonight, and they set up to the west over the weekend. It's more of a northerly wind. So we're looking at dry conditions here throughout the entire weekend. Mostly cloudy skies Saturday, 14 degrees. Sunday, partly sunny, a high of only 16. For winter enthusiasts, this has been one of the best seasons that we've had in decades. In fact, we look at season snowfall totals. We're not even in February, and there's many places over 100 inches. Marcy, 143 inches. Taberg, 151 inches. Point Rock, 171 inches. Worth, that's in the Tug Hill, 255 inches of snow. And again, it's not even February. Utica, 95.7 inches. We are almost 40 inches above average. Bitterly cold temperatures tomorrow morning. This is a look at the wind chill. Now, last night the wind chill was 25 below zero. Tomorrow morning, I think it's closer to 15 below. So it's still very cold. It's going to stay cold throughout the day. Sunday, the wind chill gets down to about 20 to 25 below zero. So a very cold start to Sunday morning. We do get a break in the weather when we look ahead. By Monday and beyond, temperatures will climb into the 20s, and it will not be nearly as cold at night. In the single digits this evening, Clinton 7, Old Forge 3 below zero, Cooperstown 6 above zero. And again, we're watching pretty quiet weather in central New York. This, to the south, is going to become a snowstorm for the Carolinas. This is expected to entirely head out to sea and not bring any concerns locally. Snow showers come to an end tonight. Overnight lows drop below zero. It's dry throughout Saturday. We'll climb into the teens, mostly cloudy skies. Saturday night, the weather looks partly cloudy. Should see some sunshine on Sunday, but it remains very cold with highs in the teens. Again, Sunday night, snowstorm heading out to the east. In fact, the whole northeast, aside from Cape Cod, looks to miss this one. Snow showers tonight, 15 below zero. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy, 14 above zero. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast will remain dry heading into early next week. We should see some sunshine Sunday and Monday. Temperatures climb into the 20s Monday afternoon. Light snow Tuesday, 29. Temperatures will stay in the 20s, and at night it gets much less cold, and I think you will very much notice the difference here next week.
I think you will thank me.
Thank you, Bill. Still to come on News Channel 2 at 6. It's Friday, and
It's a little cold outside, but it's not going to stop this weekend's Snowfest in Boonville.
that's right. Just bundle up, bring some hand warmers. Things are going to heat up on the track at the Boonville Fairgrounds. Specialized snowmobiles are getting tuned up for a competition at the track. At the fairgrounds, dozens of snowmobile racers will hit speeds of over 100 miles an hour. There is a torchlight parade tonight, bottom of the hour, 6:30, and the Blessing of the Ice Oval track at 7:15. Snowmobile racing is tonight, tomorrow, and Sunday. If you've never been to Snowfest, you can expect to see a different kind of snowmobile.
I mean, they're hand-built chassis made for this, low to the ground on the ice, widened, real sharp carbides. I mean, you could shave with the carbides. The picks in the track, you don't want to touch them because you're going to bleed. And then there is a few classes that are like stock snowmobiles.
Things to bring: heat packs, obviously, and blankets. Also, earplugs. You can bring coolers, but you can't bring alcohol or cooking grills.
The 14th annual home show is at the Utica University Nexus.
Still cold.
We're doing this again.
Yeah, one more time, right?
I think we're going to see wind chills below zero most of the weekend, so bundle up. I know we've been talking about this for a long time because it's been cold for the past week, and it's going to continue to stay cold to that point where you still need to take precautions. The wind chill will be below zero this weekend. We bottomed out this morning at 15 below zero with the air temperature, 25 below zero with the wind chill. Tonight, the wind chill gets down to about 15 below. So yes, it's not quite as severe as last night, but it's still cold. Live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. We've been seeing some very light lake effect snow this evening. That has generally drifted to the south. The radar's been having a hard time picking it up, but it's there, and it's going to be going away, though, tonight as the winds turn into the north. Current temperature 7 degrees. It feels like 5 below zero. Again, it's going to stay very cold tonight. Lake effect snow, the little that is out there, will be winding down. It's dry, it's cold this weekend. The weather takes a turn for the less cold side heading into next week. 15 below zero tonight, snow showers. I got a frigid night ahead. I've got to look at the weekend forecast coming up. Jason, back to you.
Bill, thank you. New tonight, a man from Camden is...
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis.
Good evening. We've been tracking some light snow from Lake Ontario this evening. It's been a very narrow band that's been producing just a very light accumulation. Most areas have picked up less than a half an inch of snowfall across Oneida County. You can see the roads are wet. Driving conditions aren't too bad, although again, lots of snow-covered roads that are not the main roads here tonight. And again, as we look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar, this band extends further east than what it's showing. In fact, this is making it into parts of southern Oneida County. It will be coming to an end tonight, and the weather is expected to dry out as we head into the weekend. We're looking at mostly cloudy skies. Saturday, temperatures will be in the teens. Sunday, partly sunny. Maybe slightly warmer, but not much warmer. In fact, the winds both days will be light, but there will be a wind chill to contend with both days. It has been quite the season so far. For folks that love winter, this has been a great winter. For folks that don't like shoveling snow, it's been a really hard winter. We're talking about snowfall totals that have exceeded 100 inches on the season heading north of the Mohawk Valley. We haven't even hit February. The highest total in New York that I've seen is Worth, that's in the Tug Hill, 255 inches of snow. That would be 21 feet of snow. Utica has a total of 95.7 inches. It's going to be frigid as we head into tonight. Wind chills will be about 15 below zero. The wind chills stay below zero throughout the day tomorrow. And then Sunday, the winds pick up, so the wind chills get even colder. We're looking at wind chills between about 20 to 25 below zero Sunday morning, and they stay near zero throughout most of the day. So again, it's just a very cold weekend here in central New York, but it's generally dry. We've got Arctic air working in from the north. Because Lake Ontario is so much colder than it was just a few weeks ago, this lake effect snow really isn't producing the kind of accumulation that it would have if this was just a few weeks ago. This will continue to slowly diminish. We're watching this snowstorm in the southeast tonight, snowing in North Carolina, South Carolina. This is going to turn into an Atlantic storm. It's going to rapidly intensify and head out to sea, and it doesn't play a role in our weather. Tonight, partly cloudy skies. Any snow showers will be coming to an end. We'll see overnight lows below zero. Saturday, mostly cloudy skies, a very cold day with highs in the teens. We'll drop below zero Saturday night under partly cloudy skies. Sunday looks dry, and again, that snowstorm Sunday continues to move offshore, producing some snow perhaps into Cape Cod, but again, the northeast is looking very, very quiet. Tonight, we're looking at a very cold night, snow showers down to 15 below zero. Tomorrow, frigid, highs only in the low teens. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast, sunshine Sunday 16. We're below zero again Sunday night. Monday, partly sunny, 26 degrees. It's also Groundhog Day. Light snow Tuesday, 29. Temperatures next week are actually not as cold, with highs in the 20s and overnight lows in the teens. We'll be right back.
Meteorologist Bill Curtis getting us set for the weekend. And yeah, it's still cold out there, but there's hope on the horizon.
Yeah, as we look ahead, there's some good news if you're really sick of the cold weather. There's even good news if you're sick of the snow, because we do get a break from it over the weekend. Even though it's going to be very cold, we won't be shoveling very much. You might need to do a little bit of light shoveling tomorrow morning. We've been getting some lake effect snow. We have cold weather advisories in effect for central New York tonight because we're expecting temperatures to drop into the single digits. In fact, it's looking very cold across the region. The current temperature is 6. We are tracking a few very light snow showers to the west. A lot of these are not even showing up on the radar. They've been very, very, very light. Our weather headlines, again, a cold weekend ahead. Temperatures will be below zero overnight and in the single digits to low teens during the day. Both Saturday and Sunday look dry, and then we're starting to track a warm-up as we head into early next week. I've got to look at your forecast coming up. Jason, back to you.
You knew tonight a man from Camden is...
From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis.
Good evening. Welcome back. We're taking a live look in downtown Utica. We've been seeing some light snow this evening, but for the most part, roads are in better shape. They are still snow covered in many areas. Main roads, though, are generally wet. Live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. It is quiet tonight. We've been seeing some very light lake effect. That has now come to an end, and the stage is set for a cold, dry weekend. Mostly cloudy skies Saturday, 14. Sunday, partly sunny skies, 16. This is the daytime high temperatures. At night will be below zero. It has been an epic snow season. In fact, take a look at some of these numbers coming in. This is the snow season snowfall total so far. Utica 95.7 inches, but then you go to the north into the Tug Hill. Totals go well over 100 inches. Even Marcy, 143 inches. Point Rock, 171. Worth, which is in the Tug Hill, the heart of the Tug Hill, 255 inches in counting. That's 21 feet of snow. It's been an incredible season, especially for folks that love snow. Winter enthusiasts have been having a great season. Very cold weather. Bundle up if you're heading outdoors. We're looking at wind chills below zero in the morning. They stay below zero throughout most of the day. Wind chills Saturday night drop to about 20 below zero because the winds pick up heading into Sunday morning. It's quiet. We've got high pressure building in. It's also going to help deflect a developing snowstorm in the Carolinas. Some light snow as far south as South Carolina tonight. Again, snow showers, any that are lingering out there, come to an end tonight. It's a dry and cold weekend. Again, this weekend storm is going to be a complete miss for central New York. Frigid tonight, 15 below zero, 14 for the high tomorrow, 14 above zero, mostly cloudy. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. We do see some warmer weather ahead. Monday's high 26, light snow returns Tuesday. High temperatures in the 20s, overnight lows in the teens for most of next week. Jason.
All right, thank you, Bill. That's going to do it for us, but stick around. Sports Express is